Your candles aren't as strong as they could be. Some makers think the answer is more fragrance oil, but the reality is more oil causes sweating, fire hazards, and it wastes your margin without fixing the problem. I'm Shane McGrath. I co-founded Supplier in 2003, one of Australia's most recognised home fragrance brands, and I now run Luxaroma, where we manufacture and supply premium fragrance to thousands of product makers across Australia and globally. In this episode, I'm going to show you the 3 things that actually drive scent throw, so you can make your candles smell stronger for no extra cost. Starting with the foundation, because everything else depends on this, your fragrance supplier. The biggest mistake makers fall victim to is buying fragrance based solely on how it smells in the bottle. You open the lid, you smell it, you love it, you buy it. But what matters isn't how it smells in the bottle. What matters is how it performs in the wax. Any fragrance house can pump out a scent that smells nice on a blotter strip. That's easy. A high-performing fragrance is a different thing entirely. It's designed specifically for high scent throw, using high-end aromatic materials that are engineered to release at the right temperature and bind correctly with the wax molecules. At Luxaroma, for every new scent we add to our range, we reject an average of 50 scents. That's 50. The number one reason for rejection isn't how the scent smells in the bottle, it's how it performs in wax. We learnt this the hard way in the early days of Supplier. We discovered that a fragrance that works beautifully in paraffin wax might completely fail in soy wax. The wax molecules are different, the binding process is different, and the release temperature is different. Here's the interesting thing though, a fragrance that performs well in soy wax will almost always perform well in paraffin. So we build our entire testing protocol around soy performance first. If it passes that test, it passes everything. If your supplier isn't testing their fragrances in wax before selling them to you, you're the one doing their research and development, and you're paying for the privilege. Probably one of the biggest things to look out for is dilution. Some fragrance houses will sell you an oil that's been cut with cheap odorless solvents like dipropylene glycol or DPG. The scent profile in the bottle might smell fine, but the actual aromatic compounds have been diluted. This means you need to try and use more oil to achieve the same throw, which completely negates any cost savings you thought you were getting. You end up using 12% of a diluted oil to get the same result as 8% of a pure oil. You haven't saved money, you've actually spent more. It's really common for, in particular with small fragrance houses, to try and compete and get their price down low enough, they'll cut your fragrance and add extra solvent. This is really something to look out for because you may not notice it. It can be subtle, but certainly your customers will notice it when they burn the candle. At Luxaroma, we never, ever cut fragrances or dilute them. Once we have a formula locked in, it stays. Now, if you'd like to check out Luxaroma's full range of fragrances that we've engineered and tested, specifically for natural waxes and high performance, the link is in the notes shown below. Now that you've got a high-performing fragrance, you need to look at your wax, because the wax you choose has a massive impact on your scent throw, and most makers don't fully understand why. The hard truth is that paraffin wax will generally throw better than natural waxes. That's just the chemistry. Paraffin has exceptional scent retention and releases fragrance very efficiently, both in cold throw and hot throw. When we founded Supplier in 2003, we chose soy wax before there were any soy candles in Australia. We were pioneers. We used Eco Soya Advanced from a guy called Dan Kapp in the United States. He was a genuine pioneer in creating high-performance soy wax. The technology was later acquired by Kerax in the UK, and they continue to produce what's arguably still the best soy wax in the world. That's the wax we launched Supplier with over 20 years ago. But if I were launching a candle brand today, I wouldn't necessarily choose straight soy wax. And that's not because soy is bad. It's because performance is everything, and you need to be honest with yourself about what you're optimizing for. Look at the major brands out there. They rarely sell 100% soy wax candles anymore. They use blends of soy and paraffin. The soy is there for the natural marketing story. The paraffin is there to enhance the hot throw. They're not hiding this. It's just that most people don't ask. If staying 100% natural is a non-negotiable for your brand, that's completely fine. We did it with Supplier. but you should pair it with the absolute best soy wax available and fragrances specifically engineered for natural wax performance. Don't use a generic fragrance oil in a high quality soy wax and wonder why the throw is weak. If you want to compete head on though with the major brands for scent throw, experiment with adding in some paraffin to your blend. Start at say 90 soy, 10% paraffin. Test the hot throw, then try 80% soy and 20% paraffin. Find the ratio that works for your product and your brand positioning. If you're struggling with hot throw in a straight soy, set up a controlled test. Make 3 identical candles, 1 in 100% soy, 1 in 90-10 soy paraffin, and 1 in 80-20. Use the same fragrance, the same load percentage, the same wick, same cure time. Burn them in the same room and compare. Let the data tell you what to do next. So you can see wax is important, but if you don't also couple it with the next one, you won't get the result you're looking for. I can't tell you how many times customers have come to me saying they can't smell their candles, even at 10% fragrance load. They're frustrated. They think the fragrance is weak. But in almost every case, the problem is one of two things: curing or wicking. Let's start with curing. When you pour a candle, the fragrance oil and the wax molecules need time to fully bind together. Soy wax in particular requires 1 to 2 weeks of curing for optimal hot throw. During this time, the fragrance settles and creates a strong, dense layer of scent on the top of the candle. A pro tip here is to put a lid on the candle while it cures. This builds up the cold throw, which is the strength of the scent when the candle is unlit. Cold throw is what gets you the sale in a retail environment. A customer picks up your candle, lifts the lid and smells it. That first impression is everything. If the cold throw is weak because you haven't cured it properly, you've lost the sale before the candle is even lit. Now, the wicking. The goal is simple. Select the smallest wick possible that will consume all the wax. You don't want the wick tunneling straight down the center of the candle, leaving a ring of unmelted wax on the sides. That unmelted wax contains fragrance that never gets released. The melt pill is too small, and the scent throw suffers as a result. But you also don't want a wick that's too large. An oversized wick creates a melt pool that's too deep, which generates soot, creates instability in the flame, and makes the vessel dangerously hot. The sweet spot is a wick that creates a full melt pool across the diameter of the candle without going too deep. One more tip on evaluating your candle: don't smell your own candles yourself. You're too close to them. You've been smelling fragrance all day and your nose is desensitized. Take the candle to the neighbor's house or a friend for feedback. When burning it for evaluation, put it in a room, close the door, minimize the airflow, and come back 20 minutes later. If you can smell it as you enter the room, that's a good scent throw. Then to find your perfect wick, burn your test candle in 3-hour increments each day. When you reach the bottom and all the wax is gone, that's a great result. Now drop down 1 wick size and test again. When the smaller wick fails to consume all the wax and fragrance, go back up 1 size. Now you've got your perfect wick. It takes time, but once you've got it for that candle configuration. Now to recap, stop wasting money by simply adding more fragrance oil. The solution to weak scent throw isn't more oil. It's better oil, better wax, and a better process. Source high-performing fragrances that have been engineered and tested specifically for natural waxes. Consider blending your wax to optimize hot throw, and dial in your curing time and wick selection before you go to market. If you get these 3 things right, your candles will smell stronger, your margins will improve, and your customers will keep coming back. If you want to explore the fragrances that consistently perform best in soy wax, head to Luxaroma.com via the link in the description and check out our full range. We've got over 500 scents in stock, available with no minimum order and same-day dispatch. See you on the next one.